Welcome, America's favorite old fart, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And today we have another special guest.
He does this.
We had Nick from Black Girls Do Stuff Too last week. And this week we have Thomas from Movies After Work.
Hey, guys.
Live from his car.
Yes. Yes, anyone who's listened to the last couple of episodes know that this has been my recording studio.
We've done that before, too. In fact, there was one time a few years ago, I had to go deposit a very sizable check. Mike drove with me, and we recorded like a year-end episode in the car.
Nice.
It was a good year episode, too. I liked it.
Yeah.
And we lost him again. This will probably happen multiple times in the episode. It usually does. But, you know, he'll pop off and then he'll pop on and we're good to go. Yeah. So, well, while we're waiting for him, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're pimping here?
Podcast I do is called Movies After Work. I do it with my friend Alex Duez, who unfortunately for a while has not been able to. He got a big unexpected title bump at work, which has basically made it work after work for him for a while. But the whole concept with our show is we both have full-time jobs and toddlers at home that keep us pretty heavily busy. So he's back. I missed him.
Yeah, this is the fun part about this show. You never know when I'm going to vanish.
Yeah. Tom was just telling us about movies after work.
It's just us kind of
June.
For which one?
Dune.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
It was a very
you had some opinions that you just had to tell me about.
It's my soft spot, man. It is my weakness. I understand it's not a good movie, but I still love it all the same.
The thing is that as a movie in the overall set, like I will happily watch that one again before the one that they're working on right now. But for me, it is good campy fun. It's absolutely the sort of movie that you get a bunch of friends together with and watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
It's the kind of movie where the drunker you are, the more fun it is.
I can believe that. I can absolutely believe that.
I was 12 years old when I first saw the movie. So
that seems the right age to watch that movie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, no, please check out Thomas's podcast. It is awesome. He has also collaborated with some of our friends in the Podosphere. You've had M on covering Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes, so we could both swoon over Keanu together. We needed to just have that support system there for each other to give him that love.
Yeah, I don't know if M ever passed on our impression.
I can't remember if she mentioned it.
What's that?
I can't remember if she mentioned it. No.
Okay, the entire movie is just this. With
Billy Campbell occasionally trying to force his southern accent in there whenever he gets a chance.
Oh God, that is the worst southern accent I've ever heard. Considering that, a year before he was the Rocketeer.
I really hope that he occasionally just sends postcards to Keanu Reeves going, "Thank you for taking the accent hit for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I'm going to see Count Dracula.
I'm going to Budapest."
Well, in researching the movie a little bit before we did the episode, I hadn't realized that he had been on a four or five movies back to back before he did Dracula, which included Point Break, which we also covered on Movies After Work. And once I realized they did that, I just went, oh, okay, it's kind of like finding out that Robert De Niro did Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle because it was the only way to get his grandkids to watch Rocky and Bullwinkle. It's like, okay, you get a pass. We don't ask questions anymore. We allow it.
I don't know. That's a really, really bad accent.
Yeah. So, anyway, we have invited Thomas here.
Yes.
Just another Christmas classic.
5 minutes in, we finally get into our movie.
What's that? What's that, Mike?
5 minutes in, we finally get to our movie.
That's what we do here. 1988, the same year that saw the release of Die Hard, also saw the release of Richard Donner's Scrooged, the immortal works of Charles Dickens, Scrooge.
Two of my favorite Christmas movies
depend on it.
Two of my favorite Christmas movies coming out the same year. What's the odds?
It's crazy.
1988 was clearly the Christmas year.
Honestly,
very clearly.
And it's funny now when you think about it, because every like 10 to 15 years you'll get a stone cold Christmas classic. Mm-hmm. But it's like 83 we had Christmas Story. And then in 88 we got Scrooge and we got Die Hard. 89 we got National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And then 2003 we got Elf.
Well, you're leaving out, I believe it was 1992, we got Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
And that's
right.
I will say that's
that. Sorry.
Pretty much since that one came out on home video, that's been we watch it every Christmas staple in my family. So
yeah. I just thank God that it's on Disney Plus, so I don't have to go pirate it anymore.
Yeah, I collected all the Muppets stuff going. I love the Muppets. I absolutely love them. I'm gonna get my kid into them. I can't get her to. Unless it's Mana, I can't get her to sit through Muppets, and it's breaking my heart.
Did we miss the 1984 Christmas classic Gremlins?
No. Oh, we did. Yeah, we did. 84 Gremlins too. Oh God, I'm sucking at my job right now. I worked a long day, and now had to get the kids. My wife started a rehearsal tonight, so it's like Andy's on the job for the kids. So that involves Jamie's biweekly bath. I have a 6-year-old who we always forget when he's last bathed. You've got kids. You understand how this works.
Yes.
And then it's like all I want to do is I just want to like relax, get my thoughts before I go do this. And my daughter's like, "Can we watch something?" Okay, there's Simpsons on Disney Plus. Here, you can watch that. So, oh boy. So,
yeah, I definitely I try to sneak it because I have those nights too where it's like, okay, I've got this to do, I've got stuff for work to do, I've got stuff for the podcast to do. I have to give her a bath. Can we just make the water and I can just dunk her in real quick, towel her off, and just call it? Like, I've got stuff to do.
I'm this close to going to saying to my son, "All right, I'm sure we've all been to county before. Hold on, it's gonna be cold."
Just tell them to close their eyes and turn on the shower.
Oh God! But
here's a wet sponge. Make it happen.
So now Thomas with Scrooge. Now you told me you hadn't seen this movie until I invited you to do this.
I admittedly had not seen this film. I actually watched it last night, and that was my first time watching the movie.
Wow.
And, well, here's the reason. Because my family, we've always we live in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, where you have the interstate, and then right beside it you have the dirt road for the Amish. We live in the middle of nowhere, and when I was 5. Huge winter storm ripped our gigantic, back when it was like a wire fence that you would use to catch the alien sort of antenna, got ripped off of the roof. From that point until I was about 16, I think, I did not have cable.
Oh, wow.
So by the time I had cable, I didn't know what to do with it, so I just never used it. So I've in 32 years, I've spent about 10 to 12 years of my life living in houses with cable, and I almost never use it. So without a copy of Scrooged falling into my lap, it's one of those movies I know they play all the time on cable, but because I never had it, I never think to use it, I ended up never watching it. So
interesting.
Well, it'd be nice to know your fresh point of view.
Yes, excited
absolutely.
to get it.
So I've got 30 plus years of Scrooged behind me. Now, Mike, your first time.
I think I've said this story before, but I believe I saw it on Channel 56 or Channel 38. Well, that's how I much like Tom there, I didn't get cable until like maybe 96, 97. And I really didn't go back to watch it. So I just, it was on one night and I watched it, and it was creepy, but equally funny. And so I kind of clicked all my boxes.
Okay. Just like from this time in the 80s, there's a story behind it. For me,
is this on Coach?
About 4 days before this movie came out, I was supposed to get my driver's license. And there was a girl I was very interested in. I asked her, do you want to go see Scrooge this weekend? I'm getting my driver's license. She said, yeah, whatever, why not? And I failed my driver's test the first time. So, that was essentially, that just branded me as a loser. And I never went on a date with this girl. And I didn't see Scrooge until about a year later when it hit HBO and a friend taped it for me. And then when I first saw it, my first like just out loud expression was, Danny Elfman did the music?
Yes, he did.
Oh my God.
And it's not directed by Tim Burton either.
No,
I took notes during this movie, and my first one is 2 seconds in, and it's a Danny Elfman score. You hear that chorus, and you go, I know who did this.
Yeah. Dude. Nope. Mike's dog. And I think his dad in the other room too. So yeah, he's just like, yeah. It does blow my mind that this is actually from the same guy who directed Goonies, Lethal Weapon, and Superman the movie.
See, it kind of surprised me, but it really, like, watching it, it made sense to me because it had the fantastic living in our world feel to it that Donner doesn't really get appreciated for.
Donner every now and then does show a nice kind of quirky bit of sense of humor to himself. Like the Goonies has those little kind of quirky moments that kind of show, yeah, he could do this.
Yeah. I love his work. I love watching him being interviewed because he seems like he's a lot of fun to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a weird one though, because it's like Richard Donner directed a movie written by the former head writers for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I mean, without going too deep into the trivia, I am fairly certain Bill Murray was the only person they ever looked at for this role.
I can imagine that the studio asked them to look at multiple people, but yeah, I can't imagine Micah Donahue really was thinking of anyone else when he was writing this movie.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main things because I was talking to my dad a little bit about this movie, and one of my main thoughts was, you can really tell the scenes that Micah Donahue ran, like the stuff that he was in charge, like all the stuff with the censor. I just imagine like Micah Donahue just being so therapeutic as he's right. And now she's gonna have a wooden barrel hit her.
Yeah, I'm looking up the information on Wikipedia. the ever-stressful Wikipedia. And it looks like the producer pretty much said, it doesn't show any other names they were looking for. In fact, they paid him $6 million for his role. And the producer justified the figure by saying that only Eddie Murphy could draw that kind of money for it.
It's true.
At the time, absolutely. Absolutely at this time. We started watching a little bit of it last night, and my daughter, who just saw Ghostbusters for the first time, just immediately, she just resonates with Bill Murray. She really does. She loves, because that boardroom scene at the very beginning, where he's very unimpressed, but before he does anything or says anything, he pulls down the drawer and he looks to see what he would look like if he was smiling at them.
I looked at that more as he was pulling out, just to kind of, it's the only person that can like give him confidence. So it's a little like, yeah, you can do this. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Yeah. And I don't know why he was so unimpressed. I literally was sitting there, and every single promo for a show on that channel, I went, yeah, I would watch that. Can I watch Lee Majors fighting alongside Santa Claus? Bring that. Screw Avengers Endgame. There's your team up right there.
But yeah, you would watch that, but Bill Murray's character would not.
Yes.
That's very true.
I mean, the thing I love most about Bill Murray is he has that very dry, very wry sense of humor. Every single role, he's always had that very dry sense of humor, which I resonates with me a lot because I have a very dry sense of humor sometimes too. Yeah.
I just love him because he's just very, exactly. It's a biting sarcasm.
Yeah.
That he has. But getting back
to all of you.
Getting back to the writing on this, you can definitely tell that there were SNL people involved because all of that IBC stuff coming to IBC stuff is very much in the vein Saturday Night Live skits, just like these rejected ideas that they tried to get on SNL, and now they can finally do it.
Well, I mean, Lee Major, the night the reindeer died. That sounds like it's hell. It even looked like it was cut out of an episode of SNL.
Yeah,
it's the whole thing screamed Saturday Night Live to me right out the bat, which I'm sure was there both a writer goal and a producer mandate. I could see it being both ways on that one. And it worked because it's weird how those sketches alone really, to me, it set the tone without having any of the actual characters in the movie in it.
Right.
Kind of said, this is going to be a goofy kind of fun, so don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Until it does get serious, and we'll get into that in a second because I think that there's some high drama in this movie that really, and this is something I like about the way that this is what Richard Donner does really well, is really bring in the just there is just these beats that need to be deathly serious, and you need to take that human look at things. I mean, the first one I can remember is the one with when Frank goes back with the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, he's making the joke about, oh, what do you think? I'm just gonna see my mother, and I'm just gonna start crying and change my ways. And then when he sees his mother, he's just wiping tears away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's heavy. That is some heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The mother played by Wendy Malick.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And the father by, of course, Brian Doyle Murray.
Yes.
Got to find a way to get him into a Bill Murray movie somehow.
Well, he's got that other brother, too, that did One Crazy Summer with him.
Oh, yeah, he played his brother, right?
That's right. He did play his brother in this.
Yeah.
it's been a long day. I would normally be a little sharper on these casting things. But yeah, no, I love how they take the story of Scrooge, modernize it to, let's admit it, a very 1988.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. The hair, the shoulder pads, the men's shoulder pads, the suits. There's very much that essence of die-yuppie scum that was very prevalent in this. Last night,
and it had that,
what's that?
It had that very 80s, like that thing that they did really great in the 80s of you could tell everybody's social status by their suit.
Yes.
Like Bobcat Goldthwait by no means has a bad suit on, but you look at it and you go, he's the bottom rung. Like, he's just barely here.
Yeah.
It's amazing he made it on the board. Like he's one of the board of directors, though, or one of the board on programming. So you would think that he'd have a decent little nest egg socked away, but
hey, that was
you would think, but it seems like he didn't have the best wife. I have a feeling that his wife was spending a lot of their money before he could earn it.
That wasn't an awfully nice bottle of whiskey that he had, though.
That's true.
Oh,
maybe that's where all his money was going.
I love. There was that great bit though when he's in the cab with David Johansen playing the Ghost of Christmas Past, and he just drives past and just yanks it away from him.
Yeah.
David Johansen. I had a conversation this morning at the breakfast table with my wife about the Ghost of Christmas Past, who used to, at this time period, go by the stage name Buster Poindexter. You guys might remember him from Hot, Hot, Hot. No?
I do.
Thomas?
Oh, yeah.
There, okay.
We were talking about how the creepiest Baby It's Cold Outside I ever saw was on Saturday Night Live. It's coming up a lot. In 1986 when he sang it with Sigourney Weaver.
I am going to have to look that up because my immediate thought is confusion. But
yes.
I can imagine that it takes a hard turn into creepy from there.
Well, and it was the 80s, so we hadn't really quite cracked that code yet.
We were movies like Working Girl were still like novelty movies, not the norm.
Exactly. And I'll point out too, Sigourney Weaver was coming off of Aliens.
She, to her credit though, she always had a sort of determination to not be typecast. I still remember hearing about her audition for Ghostbusters and just being falling in love with her determination to never to stay humble and not be typecast.
Yeah. No, she's a chameleon. I love seeing her in things, and especially going back to what I've shown my 11-year-old daughter is that she really loves Sigourney Weaver and Ghostbusters because she is no damsel.
No,
make no mistake about it. Bad things happen to her, but she is no damsel.
Yeah,
and she has to deal with a demon dog cupping her breast.
Yes,
God, creepy, pervy crew.
It's one of those things that once you realize that's happening, you can't not have your eyes go to that just to go, wait, how did this make the cut?
That made the cut because 1984.
Yes.
Yep. That's very true. Well, while we're on the subject of Bill Murray's leading ladies, I have to tell you, I adore Karen Allen in everything I think I've ever seen her in. She's like the Mirror of Universe good version of Deborah Winger. I mean, she's so it's hard to put my finger on exactly what it is other than delightful. is just an absolute delight to watch. When she's being tough as nails, when she's being understanding and sweet like she was in Scrooged.
Yeah. But then you get to see that fun turn in Christmas Future.
Oh my God. And that is a 180 bank.
Yeah.
They just, oh my God, the makeup that they used with her, it was fantastic. It was that was quite the transformation. And I just
in the realm of missed opportunities, if we're ever going to make do we really need to make this remake? Her and Bill Murray doing the Thin Man could have been something quite phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with her.
Yeah, I know that. Oh man, what a missed boat that was. Because the last thing I saw her in was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
What's kind of ironic is that, in the Ghost Christmas Future, her makeup and her outfit are literally black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually kind of her personality is now just black and white.
Right, exactly.
Whereas, all the other time it's just very shades of, very modeled, very down to earth.
She usually has she has gray on a lot of the time, like her nice, modest gray coat on.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. The production design and the creature design in this film are phenomenal.
This is still to date my favorite version of the Ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh yeah, with the TVs and the giant hands and.
I have to absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I love that. I got to admit, I love Carol Kane as the ghost of Christmas Present.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she steals that whole set. Like she leaves, and I immediately was like, oh no, he needs to see. Let's literally just cover every single person he's ever known in his life. Let's just come on. Let's keep her around.
Well,
yeah, she went full bore on that. She legitimately injured him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When she pulled his lip back, she actually tore that connective tissue, which to this day skews me out.
But I mean, she could tell she was having a load of fun with that. Just go ahead and punch him. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. On the record, she was like, I'm uncomfortable with this, but in the back of her head, she was going, yep, I'm gonna get so many letters from other actresses in Hollywood going, you lucky SOB.
I guarantee
when's my turn?
I guarantee the first thank you letter she got was from Chevy Chase.
Yes.
Ooh. Oh boy.
First one from him, absolutely.
I love too that at no point did anyone actually just stop and say, no, her wings are crooked. Because when she's moving, those wings are just they cease to be a thing of ghostly powers. They are just literally two wire and foil wings. Yeah. And I'm completely cool with that. I'm completely cool that they're falling apart on her back while they're filming this and releasing it in this multi-million-dollar made movie.
But honestly, that's one of the things that I really miss about the 80s and a little bit of the 90s when it came to comedies. Was nowadays it feels like everything gets the budget of tinfoil and wire instead of getting things like, what we got for the Ghost of Christmas Future, like that level of determination to the production value. I feel like, the 80s, you get this heyday of seeing these comedies with amazing production value and amazing quality to what you're getting. And then these days, and not even just because of the throwaway excuse of CGI, but it just feels like they're getting less and less of a budget and they're just kind of having to wing it without really being able to put anything into it.
Yeah.
wing it. Very nice, very nice.
We've actually had a lot of conversations on our show about just comedy in general and how there's no such thing as good high concept comedy anymore.
No.
It just stopped. And you're right, it stopped in I think the mid to late 90s maybe.
The last one that I can think of was Groundhog Day.
Yeah. I think you're probably right with that.
All right. I mean, I'll go a little for a newer. Anchorman is definitely got a budget, and it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen Will Ferrell do.
Yeah, and well, I guess what makes I would say that Anchorman is high concept, not because of the time period, but just because you're following essentially the villain. Like Ron Burgundy is the villain of Anchorman. He is the villain of that movie, and yet you're following him and laughing along with him.
Right.
I always make the argument that comedy has sort of devolved into the latter years of Letterman these days, where we can't just tell a joke. We then have to spend even more time than the joke itself explaining the joke to you.
Absolutely.
And the example I always give people is if you made Airplane these days, back then it was, I am serious and don't call me Shirley. These days you would immediately cut back to Hayes going, wait, what do you mean? Well, you just called me Shirley. No, I mean Shirley as in like to be, no, you called me Shirley. That's a girl's. And you would have that for like a full minute of them having that argument to make sure that joke just happened. And that whenever I get that comedy in a movie, I'm always just like, just know you made a joke. It's okay.
It's kind of sad that most of my high end comedy now comes from MCU.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a truth serum. So back to Scrooged. Mike, yes, you have a thought.
Yeah. We talked about like the great and comedic moments of the ghosts. Let's go for the dramatic kind of central point of the movie. Bob Cratchit, aka Alfred Woodard's. I can't even remember her name, but she's the secretary.
Right.
I think Clooney is her last name. I think
Grace Cooley.
Grace Cooley.
Grace Cooley. Yeah.
I mean, this is like literally her like 7th movie role, and she is amazing in this movie.
Oh, she's phenomenal. She is absolutely phenomenal in this movie.
Well, they use her. A lot of what makes Alfred Woodard a great actress is her eyes.
No.
And in this movie, her eyes just show being very put upon.
Yeah.
By Frank, by the fact she doesn't have a husband, that she has the kids, and Calvin who won't talk. And she's just got like this, just you can just look at her and you just want to be like, can I do something to help you?
Yeah. I mean, the last 10 to 15 minutes of the movie are pretty much the only time that her eyes and the rest of her face are expressing the same thing. Mm-hmm. The rest of the time, they're expressing two different emotions, two different truths, essentially. And she knocks it out of the park with this movie, and they do such a perfect job pacing when she shows up in this film.
Yeah.
To keep like to not kill the momentum of the comedy, but not let you forget the stakes.
Yeah. I also love that this was a major curveball, especially the first time I saw this. And in fact, when my daughter was watching it, because we all thought Elliot Lattermill was the Bob Cratchit. The first time you watch that movie, that's your expectation. Bobcat Goldthwait is Bob Cratchit. And then, nope, it's his secretary.
Yeah. Well, it almost feels like, because what I was thinking by the end of the movie was, okay, so she is Bob Cratchit in the normal sense. Bobcat is what we all know realistically Bob Cratchit would be in the modern age. So he technically still is Bob Cratchit. He's just not, he's the modern version compared to her character.
Actually, in a sense, he's kind of like the boy that that Scrooge throws the money to and tells him to go buy the biggest turkey.
You're right.
Especially if you look at that from the Muppet Christmas Carol point of view, in which case that was Bean Bunny, and earlier Bean Bunny gets nailed with a wreath. With
the wreath, yeah. No, you're right. How could I forget about that bunny?
Nice call back to yeah. Of course, I only think of that line from The Simpsons. You boy, what day is this today? It's Christmas Day, sir. No, not you. You.
But I mean, going back to like Alfred Woodard's character, like the scene that the Ghost of Christmas Present is showing Bill Murray's character, just like when he sees that the boy doesn't talk, but and then they dress him up as a tree. You can see like the love in that family, and that's I think what really kind of starts. That's kind of what starts kind of Bill Murray's kind of his journey with as far as her character goes.
Yeah.
He's tiptoeing into redemption. It's when the homeless guy played by Michael J. Pollard,
phenomenal character,
frozen in the sewer. That's the shove.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, oh, maybe I should start being a better person. Oh my God, I could have done something.
Yeah, because that's the present. That's not, maybe I can fix it. That's like, it's too late. He's gone.
Well, and what I really liked about that it's so perfect. Everything about that rant of him yelling at him is so perfectly rude. Like, why didn't you stay there? You could have stayed warm. The fuses. You could have gotten fed. The turkey. He's in this monologue coming to this realization because he still has that denial to him.
Yeah. It's nope. That was weird. That was someone's beep.
Wasn't me.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't me. And usually, if anything beeps, it's like my furnace. So, yeah, it's just there's so much about this movie that I love, but there is a bit of this movie that I always kind of like parse through as the movie cynic.
I know it should. I bet you know it.
Well, no. I have something different, Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'll say that because I don't think Tom has heard my other theory. But the actual televised production of Scrooge, had it planned to go on, my assumption is it would have been unwatchable.
Yes.
But Buddy Hackett.
But Buddy Hackett is Scrooge, and Jamie Farr is Bob Cratchit.
And Mary Lou Retton is Tiny Tim.
Scaring all the children. The look that boy has after watching her do her bit was absolutely priceless.
Yeah.
There's some of the best acting in the whole movie, and it probably wasn't acting.
Going back to Mary Lou Retton for a second, I love that when they actually do the Scrooge promo at the very beginning of the movie, they actually show that scene that Calvin's watching where she's doing the flip, like, behind the cameras. Like, there was literally a production assistant standing right there next to her with a headphone on.
Well, because the show is live. You can't have, you can't show footage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that, but still, it's like, okay, then why are you showing us stuff that didn't happen yet?
Well, as we saw later on in the movie, the Ghost of Christmas Future was in the TVs. He was able to put the future into the promo.
That's true.
There we go. That's my lazy excuse for it for them.
We didn't talk about John Forsythe as the Marley character.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Lou Hayward,
right.
I mean, the beyond like his performance, the makeup effects, everything about it was just.
I gotta say, one thing I do remember from watching it the very first time, when his arm starts tearing away, that part freaked me the hell out when I was a kid. Hell, it still freaks me the hell out. That's the one part of the movie I'm like, tell me when it's over.
No, the Creature Shop did an amazing job with all of his prosthetics. The arm, the ball, and the mouse coming out of the back of his head.
Mm.
The whole bit to me held up. Like it. If you put that in a movie these days, I would still think I was getting quality out of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is, too, with John Forsythe at this time, he was primarily known for Dynasty. So seeing him in a comedy just in general, playing a different character was very... It was undiscovered country for people like me who had only known him from, like, Dynasty.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I watched television with my mother when I was 14.
But I mean, like you were saying earlier, though, there are some serious moments in this, and that part was a very serious moment. There's almost no comedy in that scene.
Well, there was that line about, do whatever you want to me, but leave the bourbon alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just shooting through him, and then he takes the drink, and then that old chestnut.
Yeah. But you're right. It does, like, even though Bill Murray is still trying to like get some comedy and some levity to deal with the situation, that scene slowly sucks away at any comedy to it and gets very, up until that point where he's being held out the window, where at that point the funny is gone, the funny is dead. It's out of the question.
Yeah. And then there was the bit with Bryce.
John
Glover.
John Glover, yes.
John Glover, this is the only role he played in the late 80s and early 90s.
Wow.
I looked it up 3 times because I kept forgetting it was John Glover without his beard. Like with that, like I almost wanted to reach over and start drawing stubble on his face on the screen, just so that way it would stop confusing me.
Oh my God, his it's just I just love that he always plays like these Southern California creeps.
Yeah,
that just show up on the East Coast, and it's just such a, especially back then. I'm probably still now. I don't know. I've been very isolated up here in the North. That just that whole West Coast lifestyle, which was played for laughs back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still see it around every now and then.
I lived in Los Angeles till about 7 years ago now.
All right.
And yeah, they're still really proud of discovering avocados. They're like they're really proud of that fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they're proud of the fact I can't digest them properly.
Well, Andy, that's your own fault.
Oh, God. Hey, let's get some chips and guac. Let's not, please. Andy's tender tummy. Oh, man. All right. And then there's the other scene. Mike, what I'm going to talk about.
Hey,
Thomas is new to this discussion.
And I completely disagree with you, too, because I really like the scene.
I really feel that the writers ran out of blow 10 minutes before they finished writing the movie. Because that last 10 minutes is just like, oh, what are we gonna do? Bill, just get out there. Just get out there and do anything. Wing it. Because when they start singing Put a Little Love in Your Heart, all of a sudden it's just like everybody's characters drop. Bill Murray is no longer Frank Cross. He's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but more so than like, Bill Murray plays a Bill Murray type. But now it's just like, all right, I'm not even playing this character anymore. Let me address the camera. Let me just wing it.
I think that's the whole point, though. That's the point of the scene. That's when it's like, yeah, okay, the movie is done. I'm connecting with you. This is what Christmas is all about to me. Let's get this Christmas feeling going. This is legit. They want the everybody that's watching the movie to get in this Christmas feeling, and that's the whole point of it, the ending of it.
See, what I took, because for me, the movie and the characters are all done after the "and God bless us everyone" and the "oh my goodness he's talked," and like there's that moment with not all, a handful of our main characters, but once he's done looking up at the ghosts, the characters are done. What I like when I was sitting there watching that whole sequence, I just thought, okay, so the writers wrote the script to be sort of a Jailhouse Rocks at the end of Blues Brothers sort of sequence, and nobody told the editor. That's what it is. That's what this has to be, because literally, like, we filmed the evil boss whose heart was warmed by all of this. Perfect time to put his name on the his title card up on the screen underneath his name. Like, it was one of those things where I could imagine that they were going to cut to all of these characters with the title card for each actor while the song was being sung until we got through that part, till we got to the roller. But it felt like the editor wasn't told, or maybe Richard Donner decided he didn't like that. And so they went halfway to a different way, but never fully committed to going the extra mile into the other idea.
I will say that if that ending was ever going to happen, they found that minute window in time when that was permissible to do. Fourth quarter, 1988. That is the only time you could get away with doing something like that, because 1989 rolls around. That nope, fuck that. You can't do that. Imagine Batman ending like that. No.
Put the love in your heart.
Put the love in your heart.
I see, but with that, I imagine it kind of Monty Python, Holy Grail, when they're singing Knights of the Round Table. So you have all these people happily singing, and then you cut to a muffled version and Penguin's body at the bottom of the pool, not singing at all, just sitting there bubbling, and then cut back to all the people singing.
And you'd have to have a chorus of the Penguins all going.
Actually, no, it'd be more like this. Just... This is the second time we've referenced Batman Returns, like, in the span of a week, and it's a Christmas movie. All
right. We need to drop a message to Tim Burton, tell him to re-edit Batman Returns and put that in.
Yes. Yeah, we need to. We know that Danny DeVito will do whatever random weird stuff you hand him in a script, so we know we can get the shots we need to complete this.
Does it involve a big hat?
Hey, and we get Michelle Pfeiffer back in that leather again. That leads
to nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
She's got a positive attitude about that. Yeah. But yeah, with Danny DeVito, it's got to have. He's either got to be running a circus, wearing a funny hat, or naked. As long as it's one of those three, he is in. Those are his qualifications.
Oh man, and that was all big fish.
They didn't promise any of those three to him. That's why he's only in the beginning and the end of the new Jumanji, and they have to have The Rock play him for the rest of the movie. They didn't promise him the rest of it.
You boy! That meme, right? Hey, Danny. Tim Burton's on the phone. I'll get my hat.
So I need the hat or the whip.
So as we come to the end of the review, Thomas, would you include this in your rotation of Christmas movies, especially as your kids get older?
Absolutely. I would absolutely include this. I think it's a fun, different take of things. I know Bill Murray talked a little bit about feeling the film was rushed, and there are areas where you can kind of feel that. But
Absolutely, yeah.
the heart of the movie is still there. I mean, the only major qualm I had with the movie is the same one I have with any version of Christmas Carol, which is the second the Ghost of Christmas Present wastes a bunch of time on here's how you screwed up your relationship, the entire story just slows to a crawl. But there's never been a version of Christmas Carol where that's not the case. So I don't really fault it for it. But I think it's fantastic. I think it's funny. This kind of dark humor is right up my alley, and God Save Her will be my daughter's as well.
Yeah. Now, how old's your oldest?
I just have one. She's she's just turned 2 years, 1 month. So
okay. So you've got some time then. You've got some time before you show this one.
Well, she might not understand it, but she's gonna watch it. No, I'm still sitting there going, yeah, get up and do the hot dog dance, or go Doc McStuffins, you can do it.
Oh boy.
I'm from Pennsylvania, so I just keep going, are you sure you don't want to watch Daniel Tiger? I'll even take Daniel Tiger. But my problem is I have the same problem that I imagine you probably do. I entertain myself by coming up with adult circumstances for these kid show characters. So Minnie Mouse, she's an alcoholic. I'm 100% convinced. I'm 100% convinced. I'm not allowed to talk when the kid shows are playing because literally one day I got so sick of Daniel Tiger, I looked at my wife and I said, all right, $10 that Daniel Tiger loses his virginity sophomore year of high school to that one. And now I'm not allowed to talk during the kid shows anymore.
Oh,
after saying that, I've had my rights taken away from me.
That's us on a regular basis. I remember when my kids would watch Super Y. Are you familiar with Super Y?
That I have not heard that in an age.
They travel into books, and they're all like, they're basic kid stories and all that. I'm like, when are they going to get into like a tale of two cities or something where somebody fucking dies?
You were about to say A Sale of Two Titties, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Monty Python fan in me. The Sale of Two Titties.
When are we going to get to the episode where they thought they grabbed a recipe book and now they're in Clockwork Orange? When is that going to happen?
Yeah, I've seen that show. It's called Muppet Babies.
Oh. Oh boy.
I've tried turning on the new Muppet Babies for my daughter a couple of times, and every single time I watch it and I go, I know that the original one was really weird and confusing, but I don't understand what I'm watching. Why is Jenny Slate using a normal voice? Shouldn't she be talking really high pitched or something?
Yes. Yeah, she should.
Yeah. It's weird now with my daughter being a little older. She's watching all these movies, and last night we watched Christmas Vacation. And I think last night was the first night she realized that in the late 80s, it was okay to kind of like be creepy towards women if it was for a gag.
Yeah.
Because that lingerie counter scene made me and my wife so uncomfortable watching it with her.
Movies from the 80s are they are a minefield. Because my parents made the strange decision to let me watch Beetlejuice when I was 5 years old. They were concerned that I was going to get scared, and I wasn't. I was loving everything I was watching. I thought it was all cool. Like, I thought it was, I thought, oh, she just flicked and her eyes went into her mouth. That's silly and funny. I was sitting there laughing during most of the movie. When they realized it was a mistake, though, was at the end of the movie when I got up, stood in front of them, and went, my favorite part of the movie is when he went, nice fucking model.
PG-13, the one
Yes.
F bomb that can drop.
You get one fuck. You better use it right. Which was, again, my daughter is very good. She actually doesn't curse. When she did once because she didn't understand the word. We were watching Spider-Man Homecoming, and she looks at me and goes, "What shit, Edward, honey?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But yeah, last night, every time there was the big ones that she really laughed at were the Danny fucking K and the no good sack of monkey shit. And she laughed at both of those very hard.
It's like, I can't use those words, but I can still laugh at them.
That's true. That's true. Yep. Oh, so, all right. So, Tom, where can we find you on all the internets?
On all the internets, you can find the show is on Spotify, Apple, a bunch of different podcast formats. So Google, I believe it's on that one. I think it's on Castbox. I've got like a laundry list of them that it goes on to through the system that we use. And so you can find us on a bunch of those. I just a couple days ago, I dropped a new episode, 10 all-time favorite documentaries with a quick Knives Out review into it as well. So we have a fresh new one out for people to listen to. You can follow on Twitter at Movies Work. It's usually me on there ranting, raving, or just saying stupid stuff, which usually is just
That's me.
That's well, and it's amazing. I'll say something like that I think is really smart or conversational. Nothing. They'll say things like hot take, waffles are better than pancakes, and all of a sudden, like, the responses will be insane.
That's Twitter. I have found it.
Yes.
And by the way, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. Waffles are much better than pancakes.
Oh yes.
Mike,
yes.
do you have any skin in this game?
Waffles are pancakes with syrup traps in them.
Okay.
Which automatically.
I don't know if I can argue with that because I don't know if it's actually against what I've said. So.
Hey, I like syrup traps.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's more syrup. More yummy syrup for me.
Syrup and butter.
So we are going to link, we're going to put all the links to your show in the show description. So please check out Movies After Work. It is such a fun show. And so you're pretty much solo now for the time being, right?
Yeah, for the time being, I'm solo. I did the episode this week solo, and then last week I did the god-awful FIFA biopic United Passions. Literally the worst movie I've ever done on the show. And you can scroll through and just be kind of mesmerized by the range of movies that we have done on that show. But yeah,
you could just do a roulette on there and pick anything, because that's what I was doing. I was just jumping around. Like, I feel like listening to this one. I want to hear what they say about this one.
The one I always end up pushing is our Hereditary episode, only because I'm still trying to get somebody to validate me that the dad in the one scene is prepping dinner in the hallway and not the kitchen. I'm still determined to get somebody to vouch for me on that.
I probably won't listen to that one because I do not watch Hereditary.
Well, no, but it's still, I think it's one of those fun things though, that if you can get, because I don't like horror movies either, but there's plenty of. I mean, there's lots of movies on here. Are you talking about United Passions?
Yes.
For the god awful FIFA movie?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that in my horrifically long queue of yes. It's like I have a 10-minute commute to work. So it's like everything gets broken up into itty bitty little pieces.
Same for me.
Yeah,
it'll take me a week.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful. And thank God for some podcasts that are half hour. Ours usually runs like what, about an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Hold on, about to get a cat butt.
Uh-oh. Well, by the sign of Mike's cat's butt, it's probably time for us to sign off. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us, man. I had a blast talking about Scrooged with you. I'm glad that we could introduce you to this movie. I'm hoping that we were just like, it was going to happen eventually, but, if I'm the impetus, I'm happy.
Eventually, I'm sure it would have, because I love Bill Murray and I love my weird 80s movies. So for me, like, it's controversial. If I got to pick a Donner film, I'm going Lady Hawk.
I've never seen Lady Hawk.
I recommend it. It's fantastic left field of a movie, but it's phenomenal. But yeah, no, it's been absolutely a blast to be here talking with you guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. I'm sure, Andy, you and I are going to be ranting and raving about stuff on Twitter together in the not too distant future.
Well, yeah. I mean, this year has been an absolute shit show. All the good stuff that I thought was good apparently isn't good anymore. So,
yeah, that's the story of my life.
You stick to your guns, all right?
What's that?
You stick to your guns.
Gonna do that. I got into an argument with Joe at work again about Star Wars today. So
that's never a good start to a conversation.
No, it's not.
I have no one to argue Star Wars with, and
trust me, I'd rather have no one than have Joe.
I'm like a happy, normal conversation, sure, but yeah, I've had people. I've literally had people scream in my face because I don't like Chris Nolan movies.
Yeah,
I can literally understand. Someone like 2 feet away from my face screaming into it.
Oh God. So, I can, you know what? I love Christopher Nolan movies, but I can understand why some people don't like his movies. I don't like Interstellar.
I've only seen 4 of his movies.
I think he's a phenomenal cinematographer. I just don't think he's a good writer or director.
I can see that.
But I get why people like him, and have at it.
There we go. Well, thank you so much again, Thomas. Now, as we always sign off, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can find us pretty much wherever Tom's got his show going on. So Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Music. You can follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. And we got one. We're going to try to squeeze in one more, Mike, or are we taking next week off?
No, I'd be up for one more.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight one, and it's probably gonna be something very short.
Yeah.
We haven't decided what that last Christmas movie is gonna be, so you've got your picks. I don't have any. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, and be merry. We'll talk to you soon.
I always forget I gotta end.